Good morning, Paulsikins and Hexicans. Unite. This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we do our best to bridge the gap between our entrepreneur friends and the best damn crypto community around. Post-chain, you guys. What is going on? Happy effing Friday. It's the end of the week. The charts are pumping. ETH is knocking on $4,000. I think it's trying to get through that resistance. That is a very big resistance to get through. I think if we can get through it and blast off and turn that to support, altcoin season would absolutely blow up. So Ethereum is doing what it can do on this beautiful Friday. Maybe through the weekend, we can see that thing kind of really push through. But today, guys, we got a special show. I want to bring on a good friend of mine. He's been a community member for a very long time. He's been a big fan of this show. Follow me over here, which is awesome. I love all you guys who follow me. Click the like, hit the subscribe if you guys do enjoy this content. But man, my good friend Duke of Booze, he's been in the community for a long time, and he's going to start doing some of his own stuff, with streaming and Twitter and everything on there. So like, hey man, come on the show. Let's hear your story, hear what you're all about. And here's the myth, the man, the legend himself, Duke of Booze. What is going on, bro, man? How are we doing today? How you feeling?
Cheers, everyone. Cheers. I'm doing great. Thanks. Thanks for the intro.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, good day to come on with Ethereum knocking on the $4,000 door there.
Yes, timing is everything, isn't it? Luck.
Jeez, you got that right. And if we can just get through it, I mean, we've been here before with Ethereum, so we need to blast through that zone. And I mean, this is like, I don't know if maybe you've been around longer than I have, but this is like the area of like the last market cycles Ethereum top. And so maybe that's why it's so difficult to blast through this resistance. But yeah, what's your thoughts of the market right now, Duke of Booze, just overall?
I'm not, I sort of play it day by day, and I also look at macro. So I'm, in all honesty, the last few times Ethereum ran up to 3,700 around those ranges, I've sold it the last 3 times, and I bought back in around 17 or 18. So I know when Richard put his money in, I almost dropped a load because I'm like, oh, did I screw up? And this particular time, I thought the same thing. I am in and knocked at the 39, and I go, are we going to have a little rug pull to scare people out? And I was flipping a coin the other day too, but I'm hanging on. It's just when the market, yeah, because I feel the market is eager, and we really don't have retail in, but we've been wrong so often, us sort of holders. The big institutions, I think, are really playing us right now.
Yeah, it's their game when it comes to Ethereum and Bitcoin. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, they've got control of it, and I think that's sort of a sad thing. And
it is.
And Pulse Chain right now is probably the only real option that doesn't have that sort of control and oversight.
True DeFi. For now anyways. And I mean, obviously, if we got ETFs and everything else and control over these assets went to the powers that be, then all of us will be a lot richer in that scenario. Anyways. But won't you let's start off the conversation about, tell everyone a little about yourself, like how long you've been in crypto, why you got into crypto, how did you find Richard Hart? Are you a day one Hexican? Stuff like that. Just kind of tell your story so everyone can,
Right. Well, I followed Bitcoin for a long time, probably since around $90, I'm going to say.
$90. Wow.
Yeah. And then my first sort of thought of getting in was around 200. I did not. I think around 1,200, it reached the price of gold. I was following Max Kaiser and some of those guys back then. Yeah. They were sort of early into it. And RT became popular. So, I was just in that sort of world a little bit. And so then it was really hard to buy it at $1,200. The difficulty was, and So I thought, and I'm sort of, I do things, if it goes easy, I go for it. And if I have too much resistance, because I've always done well by being a guy like a bull and pushing through stuff. I've always been that guy that drove in hockey. I'm the guy that drives really hard to the net, and that's the goal. And I think I didn't want to be like that anymore. Like there's something about that. It's like I'm not reading signs when you're doing that. It's that the determination is getting you where do you go. And so I didn't buy Bitcoin at that time. I don't regret it or anything like that because, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's many opportunities in life, but yeah. And then Richard was around. I listened to him because he was a little more intelligent than most of the people in the market by quite a distance, I'm going to say. And he seemed to understand real world business. And so there was a thing that clicked, but there was also something about him that rubbed me the wrong way. And also during this particular time, things that rubbed me the wrong way, I sort of persevered because I was wondering, is there a secret thing that I'm in my intuition that I'm using something that I normally would shy away from that I actually should explore further? And so Richard was one of those sort of presence that sort of normally that would be a person I would meet in I don't know, sort of an abrasive or a defensive mode. And the more I let that guard down around him, the more I'm like, wow, this guy actually comes from a really good spot. And so, yeah, I didn't invest in Hex in 2019. I got in 2020, somewhere at one of the local tops midway through. And then
payday or post-big payday, maybe?
No, well, I'm going to say my biggest load of money and where I started unloading people was in November. So that was just prior to big payday.
Prior to big payday.
It went down. So this was ironic. So I was already in profit, but that trade particular after big payday, we lost 50% of our value almost overnight. But
still the news.
Big payday worked. And I wasn't so concerned about the drop. I was like, oh, this tech works. And I was interested in the CD. I've sort of been an investor in technology where if they could replicate something from the past into the future. And so the CD reminded me as a kid in going to the bank and getting compound interest. So this particular thing intrigued me. And I was an early investor in Amazon because I thought catalog shopping would come back. And that's all I find Amazon is catalog shopping coming back. So type of thing I've always been able to notice and then that's sort of what made Hex so special is that it's actually, I traded Bitcoin and made money trading Bitcoin because in 2020, I was making more money trading Bitcoin than investing in Hex. And then, but like I said, because the CD worked, we saw the increase in value because there was a bonus, big payday bonus that came out. So all of us could see, holy crap, we've got this much more Hex and we're still earning Hex. And we all expected Hex to, be $1. So had no problem. And almost all of my stakes that I got people into, I think all got in 10 years or more.
Okay.
So we all locked in for 2 cycle sort of mentality and became real investors. And that's what Hex was early on. We were all investors, not people just trying to extract. And it
was long-term hodl theory, which was the great game theory about Hex is getting paid and rewarded for holding your bags, which hence, the staking component. I've got some very long stakes. Now they're HSI stakes because I came into Hex in all virtual hard assets last cycle when the Pulse X sacrifice was going on. So shortly after that, Alex created Hedron and then Icosa, and there was all those auctions. And that's where I was able to accumulate the bulk of my long-term staking was through those auctions. So
Nicely done.
Yeah, I was very pleased with that. What about Pulse Chain and Pulse X? Did you participate like in those sacrifices? Did you, how did you play all that part of the game?
Um, so I'm also one of those investors that when the market goes up, I usually take out my original investment.
Ah, yeah, the
So
smart man.
and ride profit. So I don't have as much, well, because I just know that uh, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've owned multiple businesses, and it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't meet payroll one week or something. I mean, the
I know
stress
that
and
pain.
anxiety. Yeah, people think because you're driving a nice car, you don't know what being broke
No,
feels like.
I know that pain all too well, my friend.
You got it. And the desperation we go through, like, you look at the people on the street, and you go, we're not far from that.
Nope. That is a fact. I mean, sometimes you barely tread water, and you're just one decision from being homeless. Yeah,
Oh,
that is the honest truth. As an entrepreneur, you're also sometimes one decision away from making millions of more dollars.
oh,
It's wild the swings we go through.
and sometimes your biggest contract ends up being your biggest nightmare.
God, yes,
You
yes.
you're
Or
popping the champagne at the beginning, and you fucking wish you did never do that. I'm sorry.
yep. For us, it was like the last like rock star hire. We thought she was going to, right the shifts, the ships. She was like, her resume was amazing. She seemed like everything was going to, like, I thought she was like the one to take us to Valhalla. And to your point, it ended up being a nightmare. It's just like how it goes. And that's all right, man. Because I was talking about this on yesterday's show. Entrepreneurship and crypto is a game of attrition. You just got to stay in the game and tread water long enough without going out of business, right? And that with entrepreneurship, the game is, can you stay in business to get those big wins? Crypto's no different. Like you have to stay in the game and not get washed out long enough to get those wins. So
And the 5-year plan, at least that is minimal. But really,
minimal.
when you start an entrepreneurship, unless you're a person that's just building businesses, sell it. But I'm going to say the majority build it to fill a need. So you build
Yep.
something to fill a need. So they plan on being there all the time. And that's the other reason why I invested in Hex as my first crypto to actually hold. And then Ethereum on some note was because they had long-term vision right off the bat. And that's
Yeah.
not something Bitcoin had. Bitcoin was like, hey, let's use a currency, let's float it
We
around.
could trade it, right? I could
Correct.
pay you, you could pay me with it. It was a medium of exchange, although it doesn't work very well as that. But
No. It's fumbled its way through some sort of identity, but that's where we're at. Like, that's what crypto is. We've developed so much tech, but we haven't really developed a use case for everybody to use it. Sort of like early on in the internet,
agreed.
we used it. You and I shared files. We used it for business. It replaced faxes for us and got more.
Especially DeFi. DeFi is incredibly not user friendly. It is not the Apple of crypto. It is trying to onboard people in the Pulse chain. And I mean, that's part of what our business is. We onboard real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and we teach them how to do DeFi, how to do crypto. And that's how we made a business out of it, because it's such a complicated process and still hard. It's hard to do. You can't just, give this stuff to your grandma and expect her to click a couple buttons and understand the whole process. It's not like that at all. It's very complicated stuff. I'm surprised sometimes I even know how to do it. I'll be going through pushing some buttons some days, like, how did I learn all this? It blows my mind. But that's good, man. That's good. And so what are your thoughts of Pulse Chain, Pulse X, Hex? Today, where everything going on at the market, Richard's marketing campaign that's coming up, kind of alt season kind of coming up. What are your thoughts right now where we're positioned?
I mean, it looks from the outside that there's enthusiasm and we're headed in the right direction. But um, there seems to be forces that, like I said, that are suppressing stuff on
Mm-hmm.
the market, and there's whales always in the RH ecosystem that are selling down tokens, as every time we get a little pump, there seems to be quite a bit extraction, and these people reload for the next move up quite regularly, it appears. So I'm not exactly sure how to shake that out. I know when you run your own token and you're in a publicly traded zone, it takes a little bit of work to deal with that type of people that are sort of holding you back for whatever
Quick
reason.
value extraction trading that's going on.
And if it's done with some sort of I lack of better words, a type of collusion with other heavier forces, it plays a part. Like you look at ETH as an example, there seems to be a lot of OTC trades. And
an incredible lot. In fact, that was a lot of the manipulation that was going on with these, hedge funds and this market cycle, right? Like it's been incredibly suppressed until more recent now, that we're actually seeing it kind of knock on the door of 4,000, but like it's just that's been the whole cycle so far with ETH.
And it looks like they have an OTC deal to buy as much as they want, or a certain amount at, let's say, 3,500, and then every time it goes up, they're selling that all back into the market and buying back at 3,500. So we run from 30. Yeah, and that's part of a shakeout for us. So that's why it looks to me like this type of is an accumulation zone, and there's no way I want to risk a violent move up here, because that's exactly, there seems to be pressure. And like I said, and every time that happens, it could go both directions. But if I was to guess, I'm going to say I got a 2/3 up, 1/3 down sort of.
Like it. I like it. There we go. That's a good. I think that's very good sentiment on where we're at. And I think ETH going and blasting through 4K will also help the Pulse Chain ecosystem tremendously. I always talk about that's one of the rocket ships, right, that we rely on for our rocket to go to the moon. Is Ethereum really catching a bid, blasting through, this resistance that we're at right now. The actual kind of Ethereum reserve that we have, whatever you want to call it, the narrative that surrounds that, but that going higher and higher, the marketing around that, and just knowing that reserve is part of Pulse Chain or tied to Pulse Chain is huge. Like if Ethereum goes to $8,000, $9,000, I mean, that sack bag is going to be worth a lot of money, and that alone, I think, will be enough to drive new eyeballs to the ecosystem. And kind of your point earlier, we need new eyeballs coming in, looking at this ecosystem, new money coming in, so it's not all PvP, because a lot of what you described is PvP, right? It's like the cabal type theory that people say, right? And so we need that new money. And so hopefully RH's, new marketing campaign that he's doing, I mean, I have no idea what it is, whether it's he's sending these, electronic postcards, or I don't think he'd send out hardware wallets. That'd be kind of crazy to me, but who knows, right? I don't know what he's doing. And hopefully it brings the eyeballs. And then from there, you have to paint the chart. You can't, in my opinion, now this is all speculation, guys, I could be wrong. I'm just a guy on the internet, never financial advice, but like you wouldn't spend millions of dollars on new marketing, get them to look at your new thing that you invented, and then have a only down to the right price chart. Like that new money won't, we all know what new money does. It likes to buy green candles. They like to buy, and so you have to paint at least a little bit, some market structure on the chart. So when they look at it, they go, oh, wow, this looks like opportunity. I like this. People are buying this. And then they FOMO in. So that's what I foresee. And who knows? I could be totally wrong with this. So,
well, the enthusiasm's there, but that's sort of, I think that's like, so this is where I think crypto's at. And this reminds me of the .com era was, we don't have a real use case for everyday people yet. And I know DeFi is going to be it, just like email was it. Now let's look at email. Like email took over fax and letter writing. and fax didn't overtake letter writing completely, because really the only people who had fax machines were businesses or people that had home offices.
Yeah.
But the regular person never went and subscribed to the fax. They went to a Office Depot or something like that, or I don't know, those type of places to send their stuff off. So we have to think to ourselves, okay, the technology to do email is, we had to go to these people's homes to actually teach people how to do email, even our parents or grandparents, depending on your age,
Yeah.
or or us, we had to get somebody to teach us. So this is the same as crypto. We need a use case as to why the everyday guy wants to interact with it. And this is where we need to find, hey, what's a tool about crypto that's not being used? And I know some of the things about crypto that's not being used. And until this gets used in the way it's meant to, the adoption that we're hoping for, we're nowhere near that yet. Yes, we still might see massive green candles, but everything that you got seeing going on right now is just extraction. Just like all the early .com addresses, 90% were junk that didn't have any site. We threw money after it because if they had a good marketing plan that this was going to attract people to come to their website, it was going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
But our early Netscape browsers, AOL, they were clunky. It wasn't easy to find. You get what I mean? Yeah.
It was painful, man. I remember that. I remember using dial-up.
And that's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is AOL. So anybody that thinks this is like, oh, this is going to be my long-term investment, it's everything. Well, you know what? There's been giants in every industry that have succumbed to the better tech over time.
Yes.
And Hex, like I said, is first mover in actually a CD that I know, a family, a member, a wife, like I said, early on, we got everybody into that crypto. And yes, we thought it was going to be different. And it ended up not being, because the extractors outshone the investors, we'll call it, in that. And the reason big industry holds massive Bitcoin is the extractors also, same deal. That's why institutions now hold it and accumulate it so they can control it. It's not so much that they believe in it. They realize it's an asset that has value, that it's competition to them. So that's why they accumulate it. It's not like, oh, this is the latest, greatest thing. They know nobody's using it. So all they're doing is squashing it. And people don't realize that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It was what everyone was fearful of in the early days of Bitcoin, and it happened. Now they promote it. Everyone wants the institutions to buy their bags. It's funny how the psychology has reversed in the last few years from, the Bitcoin guys. Their perspectives have reversed anyway. So, talk a little about, we're talking about in the green room, and this is some interesting, I think it'll be an interesting topic to talk about. Is you're a big fan of the meme coin culture. One of the most successful meme coins right now on Pulse Chain, in my opinion, is my good friend Timothy Benjamin. He's a great dude. He lives out in Arizona. Actually, I've even been to a couple meetups with the guy. He used to hold crypto meetups there in Arizona. It was really, really cool, and great guy. He's a day one Hexakin, but his meme coin is freaking absolutely just killing it. Which it's called. I think it's called the TFC. If I'm not
the Fitzgerald Company.
Yeah. And he just uses it as his store of value. And there's like him and two other guys that hold the majority of the coin. And hence why there's, it's going up a lot, because they're not dumping it. They're just hodling the coins, and then everyone else is kind of buying on top of them. Talk about you're talking about like if everyone should do this type of strategy, adopt it as a business type plan. Talk a little about that and what your thoughts are on that.
So when Pump.Tires launched, I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. So the thing that made the Western world so successful over other So when people started traveling and going to other countries, we're going to, I don't know, 500 years ago, 1700s, in that sort of zone, maybe 14. I can't remember the time frame, but just to give you an idea, we started trading spices and crap like that, and doing that. And so countries, the only way to build ships to gain control of these things, or conquering these nations to extract value from them and bring it to their countries. And that's when trade started getting larger and larger. So nations used their own money and taxed their peasants to get the money and build ships. Well, in the Netherlands, they created publicly traded funds, so sort of the first stock exchange, and it got business owners being able to invest into, hey, let's build ships. So ships were built faster, and we got faster to market. So this is what makes capitalism.
Capitalism, leveraging other people's money. Yeah.
And capitalism is publicly traded. So this is what's happened in publicly traded world, is it's been manipulated. And as you can tell, it opens a half hour earlier for institutions, and they get to trade a half hour later. So all of that sucks, but we've accepted that as, hey, that's okay. We don't have to be 24 on. Now, crypto has come along, and it's not the crypto that's making things fantastic. It's publicly traded, and for the first time in history, so this is the first time in history that you and I can become publicly traded, make any business publicly traded. Anything we can do is publicly traded without the scrutiny to do that. And you've been an entrepreneur, and you see the advantages of wanting to publicly traded, but we could never afford the expense to actually do it.
Sure.
You frozen?
No. Can you hear me? Am I frozen?
I just did now. Yeah. Okay.
Am I back? Are we good?
You're back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My internet in and out today. I'm on Starlink. Although there's no hurricanes or nothing going on in Puerto Rico right now, but it's still, Puerto Rico's hit and miss all the time.
Okay, so you still heard what I said, though?
Yep, I did.
Okay, so being publicly traded is the key here, and this is what Tim and others, I've gotten other people, as soon as Pump.Tires, I said, hey, you got to launch your coin. Don't tell anybody about it, and get your family and friends to buy. What makes it so advantageous to be publicly traded? It gives you a legal way to be first mover advantage. So that means anybody that buys after you of your asset is going to put you in profit. Now, it's a paper profit, okay? You have to understand, because there's not that much liquidity. If you were to sell that whole paper profit, you're not going to get it. You're going to see, but it does not matter. That's what makes crypto so exciting, is we see a paper gain that's impossible for everybody to extract.
Yep.
And so the only way to save yourself is by creating your own token, because your own token, you don't tell anybody about it. You keep asking your friends and families to get involved in it, and you're not going to sell because you're actually an entrepreneur and an investor. And you can see how having a publicly traded asset can give you power, and actually you just have so many options. Let's just say opportunity. And what happens is you can almost guarantee everybody that you onboard that you can create an asset that's going to outperform the layer one. And that's all that really matters in crypto. Everybody trading on Pulse Chain, the real goal is only to outperform Pulse Chain. Yeah. Now, if you can outperform Pulse Chain and the USD, then you're hitting a home run. But giving a rat's ass what Most is doing, the Most token, Most Wanted, and all these nut bark tokens that are launched by people that, I mean, just look, their charts have not outperformed Pulse Chain since March. And in March, I launched a token as well. Ironically, March 2nd, one of the tokens I launched to sort of use as a publicly item so I can share with everybody. That's sort of the goal of my crypto channel, is use this token to show people what's going on, what liquidity bonding's going on. And this is also number 2 thing. This is the first time in history we can actually bond our asset with anything. And that's never happened in history in mankind. We can publicly trade, every human being can publicly trade an asset and bond it with anything. And that bonding allows you to create almost like a mutual fund. So you get to be able to say, hey, I want to own part of TFC, and that makes 20% of my liquidity bonding. If it's outperforming Pulse Chain, you're riding that. If it's underperforming, you're probably going to underperform Pulse Chain. But this is where you learn to use liquidity bonding. And our intelligence in our community, our Pulse Chain Hex community, we're the only ones that have this understanding. So by showing and getting this started, we actually could create a grassroots movement that, hey, stop screwing and running after these stupid tokens. Let's bond with people we know, we care, we love, and stop sucking the people that have 100,000 accounts, giving them badges. They've done nothing for the community, and everybody that's a regular day user. Like, as an example, I've given lots of money in super chats over the years. Yeah. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And that money just goes in the sewer. If you as a streamer created your own account and owned 80%, paired a bunch of your token with USD, told me instead of buying a super chat, just buy my token. And if you want, you can donate my token to my donation address or just hold it. And them even buying it and you pairing with USD, you're going to be making money. You don't even, and you're not giving YouTube any money. Yeah, you get what I mean? And there's no transaction, so there's no tax. I mean, I'm not an advisor of any sort, but technically they're buying a token online. It's got nothing to do with you. You're just providing liquidity.
Right.
And so this doesn't mean you're ever going to sell the price down, because you don't have to have an asset that goes up crazy, but you actually, if I buy a super chat, I have nothing to show for it. I buy your token, Corey Geary show token, and all of a sudden I'm holding this token and I'm like, hey, all of a sudden Corey's got 1 million viewers and he's as big as Joe Rogan, and I still have 25 tokens from him, and now the value of your show is what? So by me being an early sharer, I actually am an early investor, early promoter, and this makes everybody looking for new talent
rewarded for it.
Yeah, and everyone likes to find new talent. And then all of a sudden, okay, you say, hey, I want to accumulate and get all my assets. You create a merch store, and you go, hey, if you buy my Corey Geary token online, and you can actually buy the shirt for 20% off of USD value when you buy my shirt, and you're going to get your tokens back, and people are buying your tokens to save a discount. So your token can be used to coupon. So there's so many business ideas that need to be used with a token. And that's what I want to share with the opportunity. I have ideas for musicians, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I dream up, and I've had this and was sitting on this and vibrating on this forever. I've been asked people to help me create a token, and now I don't have to do any of it. Pump.tires has allowed me to create tokens for whatever reason I want now. I have a family and friends token that's outperforming Pulse Chain, and honestly, they see their paper gains, and literally it's just selling itself. And I ain't sharing it with nobody because I don't want somebody to ever worry about dumping on them. And you could create a fund for your family, just your own family, and go, we have an emergency fund or a college fund that we just want to outperform Pulse Chain. We put $100 of my trading money or profit money or whatever, kid working in the yard money, and you get what I mean?
Yeah, and that's exactly what TFC was too. Like, they didn't trade that, they didn't show it to anybody for a very long time, just because they kept it, between the three investors. But I'll tell you where this works and where this doesn't work. So I'll start where it doesn't, is that you have to rely on the token creator to be benevolent, right? And the problem is with crypto, the majority of the space, they're, like you said earlier, they're value extractors. They're not benevolent. And so a lot of the people will create tokens and dump and create tokens and dump. And so that's where the negative part of creating new tokens, new meme coins, whatever you want to call it, is, because most people are in it for a quick hit. I'd say 80 to 90% of the space, maybe, I don't know what the statistic is in it for a quick hit. They just want that, they make a double. Oh, I'm going to dump my tokens now from multiple different alternative wallets that people don't know I have. And that's the problem that we've seen. Now, it does work where, to your point, if they're benevolent, if they're only onboarding family, if they're using it as a true store of value, and they're the first creators who hold the majority supply, aren't dumping the tokens, and they truly are benevolent, like in TFC's case, probably in your case, you have a token called DOB, right? Duke of Booze.
Right, but it's not set up as an investment token. It's set up as a content creator token. And this is that token is set up. So instead of buying a super chat, you look at going, hey, I'm going to buy $5 of DOB. And it's like you've come to my digital online bar. You bought a and I'm promoting a digital online business for yourself. I want people to have a digital real estate representation of themselves. And as a souvenir, they can buy a DOB token. They can donate the DOB token back to the creator content address. Or what they can do is just hold the damn thing and not sell it, and consider it like they bought a super chat, and by them not doing anything with it. And if it's worth money more in the future, great. If not, no big deal. I don't want to have the pressure because with my token, I'm not going to say I'm not going to dump it or sell it, because what I plan on doing is, if I get somebody that's a whale that wants to come in and control it, I have to have the ability to maneuver and move. And I want to expose all this movement so I can help people manage what they do, because I did some things differently. Like when the TFC token launched on Pump.Tires, they launched and bought up their 80% right off the bat. Yep. So in one foul swoop. So when I launched DOB, I sort of like the Titan X sort of community where they had this sort of fair token launch. So the creator had very little, and the people that I mentioned it to, I let them buy it. I didn't want to be the owner of the token, to speak. And then if they bought token and they saw what was happening, they could donate to my token address, whatever they wanted, whether it was ETH, Hex, DOB, whatever. And so that's how I'm growing that as an idea. And that's the idea I want to share with creators like yourself, is say, hey, instead of me having commercials, me giving YouTube money, I want to, or even use the super chat money.
Big cut of that.
Okay, but use the super chat money and buy your own token with it. That's all you're using it for. Say, hey, if you're buying super chat, but you're better off if you buy my token, and you keep accumulating your token, and you use it to extract value. So you pair it with USD. I buy $5 of Corey Geary show token, and you're able to extract probably 50, 60 cents on your, depending if we have a V3 or V2 type of liquidity, right?
From the liquidity provider.
Correct.
Yep.
And so it's not a token that you're trying to say, hey, come and invest me to make money. It's a token that's a business idea for you to get paid for what you're doing. It's a tool.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the tool that if we get our content creators to start doing that, instead of doing the super chats and the commercials and all that, we can show other content creators, because they're not going to understand how to bond liquidity, how to manage all this, and how to create all this. And our content creators can actually do that. We could create a movement that is so huge. And all of a sudden now Pulse Chain has got people that are not extracting value, that are building businesses and building a reason why you would want to use crypto. And to gain control, this is why I'm doing this now, is because I actually think the market's heating up. And if you want to buy 80% of your token right off the bat, which I recommend, if you're going to do it, don't do what I did with DOB, do what TFC did and buy all of it at once, because you are going to get sniper bots and a whole bunch of stuff. And you have to have experience of trading and all of that. And I've been around since, like I said, in the 80s doing this. I'm not naive. So I may not be the greatest with the lingo, but that's not what matters.
Right, right.
And I don't want people to get in the same trouble, because I know the more successful these tokens are and the more pulse chain goes up, that means my asset's going to go up. And this is the selfish, which is the Ayn Rand mentality, is how do you be selfish where it benefits yourself so much that it benefits mankind? And this is the key to understanding how to make everything work. It's like you're on the airplane, you put on the oxygen first before you can help someone else.
Yep.
And you need to know how to make yourself make rich, how to use your money, how to manage money. And one great thing about your crypto, it's always available to be used. But because the value will look so much higher than what you can extract, it's going to give you a lot of power in the future when we're able to borrow against it, especially when you got to paint a beautiful chart and you have that possibility to paint a beautiful chart. And that's another key thing, because you don't want to become so popular if you're trying to create, like, TFC is going to run into a similar problem where someone's going to buy, it doesn't matter whether they own 90% of the token or not. If somebody buys and does a 2x, he's going to find a whole bunch of people to extract on the 2x on. Do you get what I mean? He pumps it. He's going to find people and then extract. And yeah, it'll be hard and difficult, but if they're not bringing in enough money to deal with this new whale and they're committed to not selling, they run themselves into some risks.
Well, so I would say that risk there, right there, the more public and the more known about this particular coin gets, the more people are buying into it, then you're going to bring in some of those value extractors. And that's the risk that you run by becoming more of a popular token, right? More of a well-known. So like TFC, it didn't have that problem for months because no one really knew about it. But now it's starting to get known. I'm seeing it on all over Twitter. Other people are retweeting it. People are buying it now. There's going to be a time when some of these guys buying now are going to value extract. So there is some of the risk later down the road, the more public you get. But if you keep it more of like, I like the idea that you should keep it more of a business, or it's just a business opportunity that you're using, for example, like the super chat idea. That's not, you're just kind of keep it more close to home, more for a use case of just you, maybe your closest friends. Once again, like you said, your family members. I can see that working really well and holding value almost indefinitely at that point. And it is like a store of value. So it's an interesting thought process. I've never thought about meme coins or creating a coin from that lens, right? Yeah.
And when you start your business, you don't want everybody to buy it, do you?
No, exactly.
Okay, so when Elon went public, he only ended up owning, I think, 28 or 29%. Same with Jeff Bezos, only 20. You get what I mean? So they give up a majority. So this is why, if you control, I'm going to say 75%, 70% of your token, you can probably get away with a lot. Anybody that invests in you on paper. So if you are going to run an investment, I would ask family members in your case to say, hey, I'm going to run a Corey Geary show token. You don't want me in there, but I'm hoping in the future you like what I did and inspired you, and it works out for you that maybe you buy my Dob token and pair it with your token. Do you get what I mean?
Right.
And then we
both take liquidity fees.
Correct. And we build a family of trust that all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, if you want to invest in crypto, this is where you invest. These people are actually building in crypto. They're not extractors. And this is where you won't run into that risk. But you need like TFC.
You need the right people, though. That's the key.
But that's not. So you look so everyone's trying to be noticed. But if you grow gradually, like when Tim first mentioned publicly that they launched the token, up until I'm going to say last week, it was well under wraps, and many got in, and literally you put $100 in, you're up 3-5x from there very easily.
Oh, from that point.
Yeah, very easily. And if you went from the very first time he's in, you're already up 10x.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe it's not exact, but so the thing is that token is meant to go up. He's created enthusiasm, and they're hoping they can manage it. I'm hoping they can as well, but we're going to get to watch and grow. And this is what was interesting about Hex. We got to learn together. And I like that Tim is learning out front with us. And that's what makes that so fantastic. I don't have the answer completely how to use a meme token, but being publicly traded is important. Now, here's the number two thing that's not being. So I said that's the most important. And that's why crypto is going to shine, is we get to bond with whatever we want and we're publicly traded. Right? That's
100% with that.
Phenomenal. And like I said, you start a business, you really don't want everybody to own your damn business. So you can see value extractors are usually trying to pump it up as fast as you can. And the big thing about is if you've got family and friends in, they're not trying to go, oh, wow, all of a sudden I'm worth so much money, I want to sell a bunch of my token. That they're not going to do that.
Right. Because you're getting the right people in.
And your show, if you're not trying to get as popular as possible and want to grow as organically as possible, you're going to be able to educate people. This is going to take some education. This is the part that the streamer goes, hey, buy my token versus super chat. If you know, and we have to use delicate wording on this because it's publicly traded, that we don't get into trouble, but we have to be delicate about how we word that. But I think the right language and learning together, we can evolve and develop this tool into being what the fantastic tool it is. And think about this. You get to sell your business or a portion of your business in an emergency at any given time. You and I know how hard it is to sell a business for any value that it's worth.
Very, very complicated.
And then having to commit to a 2-year contract to, or whatever else. You get what I mean? And this frees entrepreneurs. So get this. Stock market is really an investment of ideas and funding. That's really the ideal goal is.
Yep.
And for the longest of time, so I've done design and stuff. I've been in the sign industry, and people steal all the time ideas. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm giving you entrepreneurial ideas that anybody can use. And obviously a larger account watching your show can do 10x whatever I do, and I get ignored and dismissed and nothing ever happens.
Sure.
But because I've created a token and some identity, I always will have a permanent residence on the blockchain, be able to move wherever I want to live in the world, and actually have access to my funds, at least a portion of it, anytime. I mean, I've never had that ability ever.
Right. It's interesting when you think about it that way. Yeah.
Think of that power. And it doesn't matter what you do. You have a soap business and you create a token and you make online soap. I have ideas on how you could use it. Like using your token as a coupon can be so valuable to create harsh demand, low liquidity. You increase the liquidity when you run that. All of a sudden you're extracting more US dollars during this process. There's so many ways of doing this, and branding is just endless for you, so think of a token as your, like Nike has the swoosh. Think of the token as that. And it's actually a piece of, actually, like I said, digital real estate.
Huh. That's fascinating. Yeah. And
instead of a super chat, you go, hey man, this conversation was worth $5 worth of Dob. I'll buy $5 in Dob and hold it in my account. What the hell?
Right.
And it doesn't matter whether it goes up or not. It's irrelevant to you, but you help me just by buying it, even if you sell it tomorrow.
Right.
You get what I mean? But ideally, you're going to say, hey, I want to support this guy. And if this guy continues to grow and all of a sudden he now has 100,000 viewers, what might his Dob token be worth? And then I go, so think about this. You guys do public speaking. So you have a public speaking tour and you go, hey, you buy the Corey Geary Show token and you pay with the Corey Geary Show token. It only costs you $80 US versus $100.
Right. The coupon idea.
But the $80 is buying it. You're paired with USD heavy and you're creating. So if you want to use that money for whatever you want, it allows you to use your token as a tool. So it's not an investment for other people. It's a tool for you. And this is the new change of focus. Email it's a tool. It's a tool, and that tool gets used all the time. A store of value does not.
Right.
And that's what people are trying to create. So the DOB token, if it's the digital online business token and it becomes a spearhead for all this, I'm hoping people go, geez, even if Joe Rogan goes, I like this idea, or, whoever it might be, and says, this is genius. I don't have to sign some suckhole deal with whatever media outlet, because basically I can just broadcast anywhere from like what we're doing right now. Yep. And because people are buying my token, it's going up in value. I got merch I'm selling. I'm going on speaking tours. I do live comedy shows. My token is getting used as money. And that's even better than trying to, I'm going to make Bitcoin the money, or I'm going to no, my token is being used as a form of currency where I'm not getting my financial advice, tax. Because why? I'm not taking any money out. It's part of the growth of the asset. And no different than MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin and Apple now buying Bitcoin and saying Apple's Bitcoin, what they hope it goes up, is going to outperform everything but iPhone. So you have to think to yourself, I think Pulse Chain is going to outperform all of that. And so by investing in my own token, I'm burning Pulse Chain, right? And then there's a bunch of liquidity paired with it. So that's off the market. So everybody that buys anything at the beginning gets locked in liquidity. It's locked liquidity, right? So this is what makes it important. There's only 2 billion tokens ever produced when you run on pump.tires. So there's certain standards that are set right away.
Yeah. Huh. It's fascinating.
I got your wheels turning.
You do.
And that's what I'm here for. Inspiration. And all of a sudden, if we all do this instead of chasing the next token, now I want Tim's token to be a store of value that I'm looking at pairing it up. But right now I want to invest in my own token because it's outperforming his token. You get what I mean? On paper. Because your family buys, it always goes up. And this is the other thing, is they look at the excitement of, oh my God, my $500 investment is now worth $2,500. Well, technically there's 20% slippage if you tried to sell 2,500 at once, but it's good for onboarding. And then they tell their family and friends and kids and all that. And all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of people investing in your business, and there's no reason for rug pull. They see your growth.
Yeah, it's a fascinating idea. And you make a lot of money from the liquidity providing.
You have so many options of where to make money.
Right.
And even your bonding, your understanding of bonding and which token is worth bonding to. As an example, we had one of our guys bond heavily with the time token, and to experiment, he used a
great token.
He used the time token to actually whatever the time token paid him in dividends was buying up DOB. Yep. And it was outperforming Pulse Chain, even with owning the little amount that he did, I mean, and
it's times the one of the few sacrifices that I participated in. It might be the only that I actually am up on.
I did not participate in any sacrifices, but I know me and a few others gathered quite a bit of time, and one of our guys just unloaded a bunch of time because it went up 2x on Pulse and started buying more of our token up because it made sense in that aspect, right? Hey, I doubled, and and then while you're buying your token with no liquidity, it's doing a 2x or 3x.
It goes hard.
Right. Yeah. So
it goes real hard. Cool, man. I love it, man. It's giving me a lot to think about. I mean, it worked out really well for Timothy Benjamin and his guys over there. I know that he did it as a kind of like a business idea too. It's his, because he's building a house out in AZ, and that's his contract. Him as contractor and like his business partner are the ones who created the token. It was never meant to be like this, big meme coin that, hey, everyone come buy my token so that way I can value extract on you. It was never intended for some kind of like that. And I think that's why it's so successful. That's why it is doing well. It was the perspective and the mindset they approached it from, which you're talking about right here, is because I've never heard about this type of like mindset over a new token launch, which is really cool.
And you
So
like different mindsets.
I do. I
The
do.
crypto mindset. So this is just those couple of ideas open up a use case for almost every human being. But as a streamer, you already know that majority of streamers have any large accounts are value extractors, got a load of tokens that they're promoting. They've already bought their tokens, and when they're talking about them, they're slowly selling their tokens.
Yeah, especially the big giant KOLs like Crypto Banters, or they got massive bags either gifted to them or whatever, and that's fine, right? Like that's the whole nother game that they play.
And what token do you want? So like what token? I can't think of a token other than tokens I've created or people I know that have created, or I have like if Corey Geary show created a token, What the Heck's created a token. There's a reason you like their tokens I'd be interested in. I'm already buying super chats for you.
Right.
So I would rather buy that than the alternative. I go to DJ Cryptomatic. I'm on Twitch and I used to subscribe, and I'm like, well, now I watch it more on X. And then I'm like, okay, so I buy bits all the time. Well, honestly, if DJ Cryptomatic had a bloody token, I just go, I'm going to go listen to the DJ, and he's got his chart up there and he's saying, and it's just in the background. It doesn't have to be like a hard sell, but you put your chart up there and, hey, a 5-minute chart or a 1-minute chart. You get what I mean? And hey, help support the show. Let's see if we can move this a little bit, and it's nothing. It's better than, hey, thanks for the super chat. Let's participate in crypto the proper way, in true DeFi. Let's participate in off the grid. We're off the grid. We're not giving YouTube 30%, right?
Yeah, I love it. Well, cool, man. This has been great. Do me a huge favor and let everyone know where they can find you, and go ahead and start winding the show down. Like, where are you planning on doing your content at, and how can they find you?
Well, my goal is I'm hoping more streamers like yourself invite me on their shows. I'm trying to get out of my little bit of shyness. I'm not into being aggressive anymore. So I'm hoping people go, hey, I'd like to talk about this and learn more and go from there. And that's the idea of my X channel is where I right now want to focus on, and I want people to come to that. And I'm at Duke of Booze, so it's pretty easy to find. Yep. And I want to continue to promote Pulse Chain and Hex. I have no interest in much of the other tokens that exist. I like TFC. I like Time. There's other tokens that outperform Pulse Chain and stuff. But I'd like to focus on these things, because often a lot of these things are not talked about, and they're having to go through the loud noise of the people with 100,000 subscribers that are promoting the next loudest thing. And when I buy or you buy, you know that you've bought some sort of top briefly. And because there's
liquidity
and because there's not that much volume, it's so easy to watch a wallet, and if they know your wallet and you're buying, you got to create another wallet to do something. The game is just ridiculous. You provide liquidity. Oh, all of a sudden you realize you're the only outsider providing liquidity, and they're just trying to steal your liquidity. So there's so many risks in this world, and the only way to clean it up is find the clean, nice people and get them to bond together, whether it's liquidity bonding after you launch your token or whatever. I mean, these are the ways, and I think that's the best way to create partnerships.
That's great. I love it.
Use capitalism properly.
Yeah, exactly. Combined with actual DeFi.
Think about charity organizations doing the same thing. This is phenomenal.
It could be. Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it
Yeah.
as a business idea versus just a meme pump and dump type value extraction. This is great.
And I hated meme coins before that. And before that, I hated
Right.
NFTs till all of a sudden they became a great way to write up contracts.
Yeah, I mean, I love my HSI stakes, and
Yeah, but I have
Those are NFTs.
no interest in buying the next frickin' ape.
No, I don't either. I don't either. But they do have an amazing use case when used properly.
Yeah, and I don't and the reason I like TFC as a meme coin is it's a business idea.
Yeah, it's not meant to be a meme coin.
No.
That's why I like it too. I don't own any, guys. So full disclosure, like whether you go buy it or not, I don't care. Like I don't own any of it. But I do think it's really cool what he did, and I'm actually going to have him come on the show too. I'm good friends with Timothy, so he'll be a great guest to come on and just talk about, his ideology behind it would be great. So, well, cool, guys. Guys, follow Duke of Booze over on Twitter. Are you planning on doing any streaming, or is it going to be mainly just Twitter type content?
So I've asked a couple of people to stream. So as an example, I think Tiger God as an example. I went on. Okay,
Yeah.
so he was promoting. He showed his wallet so I asked him. I said, I think you should create a meme token. I said, I'd like to have a discussion with you. And so just to give you an idea, so he said, no, I don't do memes, and
Yeah.
I'm not a value extractor. So the first man, and he's not the only one, that every time that I first mention it, this is the first thought someone has. Oh, if I
Yes.
create a meme coin, I'm going to be a value extractor. And I'm like, oh, wow, no wonder this is a screwed up industry. If even people that have a good heart, that's the first thoughts they have. So everyone in crypto is not everyone, I'm going to say 99% are looking for somebody to buy in after them. And yourself in creating a business, that's not the goal.
Yeah, 100%.
And
Yeah.
this has to change in crypto.
Well,
And the only way to change it is how we use it.
That stigmatization or that idea of a value structure for meme coins, because leading up to this point in crypto, that's largely what it is, right? Like what the space is.
Even Bitcoin.
Even Bitcoin, absolutely, 120.
The only organization that hasn't really portrayed that completely is the Ethereum Foundation. But XRP, ADA, all of them have proven to be value extractors.
Ripple Foundation,
Solana, yeah.
They just keep dumping and dumping.
Yeah. And everyone thought Trump would be different, but he operated the meme coin in the same tradition that it's operated. And hey, let's take out a few billy and put it somewhere else.
Hard.
Yeah. And then I'll pump it again to extract more value after everyone that has.
That's why, it's like I've always been against creating a coin, or I'm very against even buying the newest meme coin that comes out, just because of that ideology right there. It's just like, and now the majority of my portfolio is in the cores. It's just, Hex, Pulse X Inc. I feel like we're at a bottom. I feel like, we're going to have a lot of upward momentum from this point on. And anything new coming out, I've been very, dead against buying now. I mean, I own some Solid X. I still like that token. I think Solid X would do well in the long run. But yeah, it's just, that's always been my mindset too. So yeah, it's interesting to think it from a business perspective. Yeah, I'll have to give it more thought. Yeah, that's great.
Maybe we can talk about it again in the future a bit
Absolutely.
more. Maybe it's something like, my idea was, one of it was maybe I would do a weekly show about my own token to explain how it's being used and how they can copy this, what to not do, what to do. I like what Tiger God is doing. Hey, I invested this much. This is my wallet and I'm sharing it. And I think there's some value to that. And early on, I don't know if you remember when Hodl Dog was around a lot. So he really showed how to his staking and what he was doing, and
how he was DCAing too. Consistent DCA plan he had. It was like, I remember,
always online and great at sharing. I don't know how fluent I'm going to be transitioning to do all that stuff. I'm not exactly sure what my goal is, or, you know, like in that aspect, but right now I have this burning desire to get this message out, and it's causing me to not sleep because the enthusiasm, the excitement, and I can't sedate it even. So I feel it's something that I have to express, and it seems like I gotta get like your megaphone and get it out now,
Yeah,
because
man.
if you want to do this and invest in this, it's going to cost you 10 grand US to gain enough control right now. And if a Pulse Chain does a 5X, it's now going to cost you 50 grand, you know. And that's I think why I want as many great people that I know in the community over the years to get involved.
Yeah, and then bond the liquidity. That's a
Yeah,
great.
and find your own friends and family that say, hey, this is something I want to do. And you don't go out and promote your token until you have an idea as to what you might want to use it for. In
Right.
in, in my Dob case, it's going to evolve sort of like Bitcoin into a bunch of different ideas, sort of like Hex did in some ideas. I don't really know. And I'm sure TFC is going to also go through an evolutionary process as, hey, this is the vision. And, you know,
Yeah.
this is what I can do with it. And this is good enough. You know, and you and I know that taking out $1 billion at once is not ideal, but taking out, being able to have key to the bank is better than anything, you know.
Yeah. That I agree. Cool, man. Well, I'm going to wind it down. Guys, thank you so much. Subscribe over to Duke of Booze. We would love that, man. And you've been in the community for quite a while. You've been a fan of my show since I've been, I think, live. So I appreciate that, and appreciate you coming on today. It's great. It's a very interesting conversation. You give me some things to think about for sure. So it's yeah. Any last parting words before we wind it down?
No, thanks very much. Remember to get 4 hugs a day in. It's important to have
I
good
love
human
that.
contact with love.
That's why you got to be good with your family, guys.
Yeah, they're the easiest ones to love and
Yeah,
hate.
my
So
wife and
choose
2
love.
daughters, they're the greatest, man. I am truly blessed in that regard. So, well, cool, guys. Remember, buying right now is still an amazing opportunity, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but if you need to DCA, that's best way to do that is bring value to your community. You get value back by bringing your value community, aka money, and you can put that money into crypto and 100x your effing life. That is the key to legacy wealth. And then there's the wealth preservation side. And if you want the DeFi, the DeFi Wealth Trust, it's in the show notes, guys. That's where you can preserve your money from 3-letter agencies taking their share, or what they think their share is. It's not. Preserve that money. It's yours. You can do it through the DeFi Wealth Trust, completely free. And on that note, we'll have a great weekend. Thanks a bunch, Duke of Booze, for coming on. We appreciate that. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks so much.
Peace. Yep.